Ooh. Yep. All right, we good. Okay, you ready?
Yeah, let's get into it.
All right, so boom. Welcome back to another episode of the Highlight Reel, and hopefully you've seen it. I always start off a certain way. I always do like this little clap. It just helps me do some things. So.
Okay.
All right. Boom. So we back in the building. As you can see, I have a special guest today. I'm going to go ahead and let you introduce yourself. So go ahead and say who you are, what you do.
Okay, word. Hey, I'm DJ Monet.
Yep.
I am a creative. I'm mostly known for DJing.
Right.
But yeah, I'm super happy to be a part of this.
Yeah, appreciate you. All right, so I kind of want to, let's get into the whole DJing thing, of course, because that's, the main thing that brought me to you. Because I've known you for kind of a while because we have a mutual friend. Mm-hmm. But I think when I first moved back to Cincinnati, I went to an event and I saw you DJing, and because you're familiar with Kickley. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I saw you at that event. I think I saw you at Art on the Ave. You were DJing. I was like, hold up, I know her.
That was back in the day.
Yeah, I was like, she DJs now. So I think that I've always had an interest in DJing, so I kind of want you to tell your story as far as what got you interested in it, because before that I had never known that you even did anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the same for a lot of people, I would say.
Yeah.
I, like many people, just was like, always on aux and oh, I want to DJ, I want to learn how to DJ and mix. Yeah, I was on that aux. And then it was in college when I was really looking for kind of like a mentor. So I kind of went after it and asked some people. I met with some people, but nothing ever blossomed from that.
Okay. And
so I was like, maybe it's just not meant to be. I have a lot of hobbies, and I try to just learn something new. So that's what I saw it as, a potential of being just a hobby. Okay. And this was probably back in 2019.
I didn't know that. When I first saw you DJing, it was literally 2020. It was last year, 2022. So I saw you, I was like, she DJs? Since when? Because I've always had an interest, so it was very inspiring. So continue, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, this was back when I was in college in Chicago. So I wasn't even in Cincinnati yet. I was just talking to some musicians, people who were into production, people who were DJs. It was three or four people. And yeah, like I said, it was very short term. But then COVID hit, and I ended up moving back home to Cincinnati. Never thought I'd do that either. I thought I'd stay in Chicago.
Okay.
But yeah, so.
Okay.
But we're back.
So after you graduated, you came back, and that was when you were like, okay, I kind of want to take this serious or really pursue it a little more?
Well, my childhood friend is a DJ. Okay. And, I was always on aux, and I'm like, oh, I'd love to DJ. And I'm saying this to a DJ. Yeah. And he's like, okay, come through to my next event. And literally, I was at an event when I was learning how to DJ. And yeah,
did he let you get up?
He did. And they were like, I wouldn't say they were vinyls. They were Rame ones, which are very close to vinyl.
You were DJing vinyls?
Well, it's almost not vinyl. It's more of it's turntables.
Ooh, that's some skill, and that's some serious care. Because if you go ahead.
Yeah, but I mean when I first saw it, it looked like rocket science. But yeah, I just stayed with it. He let me use one of his beginner controllers to practice on, and when I tell you, I took advantage of that.
It was a beginner controller.
Yeah, it was it's an SRB3. It's a Pioneer DJ.
Okay. Yeah.
Controller, and it's 150.
I think I have that.
Okay.
Or something like that. I have one that's 150, and I haven't even touched it because I've been scared to. It's intimidating.
Go for it.
Yeah, it's just it's so intimidating because it's a new thing. It's a new thing. So as far as that being a new thing, was that obviously you were excited, but did that scare you too?
I mean, I definitely just saw it as another hobby. I was not trying to get after it as a career. It was not something that I was thinking about sharing even with the world. It was literally something for me to do because I loved music and I wanted to mix. Okay. And so I was into it, and it was kind of an obsession. I was just when I didn't hear something that sounded good, I was like, let me try that again, and I would get it. I would keep doing it until I got it right. and I just keep going like for hours. And you know, I'm so thankful my parents let me do it, because sometimes it'd be loud music going on. Like,
oh yeah, I think that's another reason for me. If I'm gonna learn how to DJ, I need to blast. Yeah. I need to like really bang out so I can hear what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because I've like I think when I first bought my DJ controller, I was just doing stuff on the computer. Like I didn't even have the controller out. I was just doing stuff on my computer.
Yeah.
Cause like if I can do it on my computer, I'm a beast. You know what I mean? But it's just so intimidating. So
it's hard on the computer.
Yeah. Cause
you're not able to use all of the tools. Like the computer it's kind of you're kind of limited to what you can do.
Oh yeah, of course. Cause like on an actual controller, you can really like. It's just, I know it's such a joy.
You can mix with the levels.
Yeah. Okay. So, what was I gonna say? So when you first started getting into it, like, did you feel like it was gonna take you a long time to learn? Like, how long did it take you to learn how to DJ? Would you say?
I was just trusting the process. I like, and like 6 months in, my brother calls me up and is like, "Yo, I got a gig for you." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" Like literally, like I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
And he was like, and you know I skate too, so he was like, "Yeah, it's this roller skating event. Like I think you'd be perfect for it."
Oh yeah, he was like, "I'm in."
And honestly, like that is the only reason why I did it, is because I felt like it was a comfortable environment for me.
Right.
And like I love skating music. Like I was like, I got this playlist and more. Like
okay. Right.
So like that's what I started off with, was just like making a playlist on Spotify.
Yeah. And then
like,
so stuff that you liked, and then you would just see how you could blend it. Kinda.
Exactly. And the bit.
You're good. Go ahead.
In the beginning, it was mostly just like kind of make sure it was like a smooth vibe, and not making it so like, I don't know. I didn't put a lot of pressure on myself. It felt very much like a lot of pressure, but as long as I maintain a vibe, like making sure this song sounded good with the next song, and like, and then when I was there, that was the first time I really got a reaction from a live audience, a group of people. So that was taking it a step further when I was learning how to feed off the energy of other people to set a vibe, like to make sure I was going the right way. And so that's when I learned what I practice, like by myself, does not always work for the crowd.
So you're saying because of that, there are times where you feel like you have to be with the crowd to actually learn what's working.
Yes.
Instead of thinking what's working, and then you get out and it's like, no, that doesn't work.
Yeah, like I can prepare. I typically like to prepare a set, but I know it's just a skeleton. Like, because when I'm there, it's gonna be a different vibe.
Yeah, somebody might. Okay.
Yeah, and then I have ample music too. Like I have so many different playlists, just in case, you know, the set that I like. There have been times where I've planned an entire set, and like they don't like that vibe, so I have to dig into another crate. Okay,
so all right, because you were just saying you don't feel like you try not to put any pressure on it, but I honestly, I think that there is an incredible amount of pressure as a DJ, because I think I don't want to say I'm a harsh critique of DJs, but
a lot of almost, I feel like everybody, like we as humans love our music, and we are all critical about what we like.
I know, but it's like I'm open to new stuff. I don't mind that, but because I know that it's like like a back and forth, not a call to action, but it's like call and response. It's like the DJ feeds off the crowd kind of feeds off the DJ.
Yeah.
But I know sometimes I'm in the crowd and people are like, I don't like that song, when a DJ's trying to play a new song, because there have been artists I got put on to because of a DJ. Like I got put on a Lucky Day because of a DJ.
Oh yeah.
The first song I ever heard was Karma at this was when I was in college. The first song I ever heard by Lucky Day was Karma, and this DJ played it, and I was like, yo, what song was that? I've been a fan ever since, you know. But I also have had more experiences where DJs don't. Okay, like how you were saying earlier, so you would want to kind of just be on the aux, be the DJ like that, just play the songs, right? It almost seems like that's what a lot of, at least in my experiences, a lot of DJs just kind of play the next song. They don't really blend, because to me, when you're blending, you're essentially making a new song.
Yes.
And that is one of the best experiences that I don't get. So it's
well,
annoying.
You're talking
so your
to
thoughts
the right
on that?
person.
Yeah. So yeah, what are your thoughts
like,
on that?
Okay, so I feel like a lot of people, and I'm happy you said blend instead of scratch.
Nah.
Because I feel like a lot of people think that if you don't know how to scratch, then you're not a legit DJ.
Nah, I know it's different forms to DJing. So yeah.
But when I was telling you, if something didn't sound right when I was practicing, I do it again. That taught me how to blend, and that taught me how to mix. And then I would watch YouTube videos on how to like make it seem like seamless, and I fell in love with it.
Yeah, like a seamless blend can really elevate the experience to the max, because I don't hear it. So when I do hear it, like especially if I'm with my friends, I'm like, we'll look at each other and say, bro, they are mixing.
That's the best feeling as a DJ, like when you like not only when you hear it, but when other people hear it too. It's like magic. Yeah,
because I'm always one of those people where I will, like, as a blend starts, I'm like, what would make sense with this? Yeah, I'm like, what would make sense to go next? And then I would tell my friend, I'm like, all right, I bet they about to play this. Because when it starts, I'm like, I got it. That's why I've definitely had times where I thought I should maybe get into it, because I feel like people don't understand how important it is to really like manage that right. If you don't, I feel like if you're not taking care of the crowd, then the essence of a function, of a party, can die so much faster. And I think some people are like, oh, well, since I'm the DJ, I can do what I want and it's gonna work. No, I get you might want to play some new stuff, but whatever you're used to doing, as you were saying, you kind of have to feed off the crowd. If they're not feeling that, it might be time for you to try something else before you lose your crowd. So yeah.
And I also will say, like, there are times as a DJ, like, when you try to please, and there are times when you do have to just put on your headphones and just play.
Explain that.
So in Cincinnati, we are very specific with the kind of music that we like. It has to be familiar. You know, it has to be mainstream, pop, hip hop, rap. Like, if it's not something that you know, you're not willing to experiment. And I love house music. We don't really have that big of a house scene here yet. And not only that, people aren't open to it.
Are not?
They're not yet. Not yet.
I can see that. That's why I was hoping that I was really hoping that the Drake album and Beyonce's albums would kind of open it up. Now, obviously, a lot of people were into Beyonce's album, but I think it was so much. A lot of people were not like down in Drake's album, but I'm thinking, bro, you gotta at least. Because I think when I was first listening to it, I was almost going down that same rabbit hole. Like, yeah, this is not good. But then I said, hold up, if 3 songs in, it's about a similar sound. Why don't you change your perspective of the album itself? It's like, all right, he's probably going for something different. So let me look at it from that perspective and what he tried to accomplish with that. That changes the whole view of the album. And I think he has some bangers on there, I think.
Yeah,
and
Texco Green, Massive.
Yeah, like, I'm actually into house music, but I don't hear it that much. Okay. I would say, like, the artist.
Let me find out your house music.
Nah, like, what artist do I... Okay, I'm very sure you've heard the name. Kaytranada.
Okay, guys.
Yes, that's... I gotta see him. I need to see him live at some point, because his stuff, I'm like, if I hear this, I'm gonna lose my mind.
Right.
I'm gonna lose my mind.
Right.
So who are some who are some people that maybe influence you as far, or like inspire
Definitely Kaytranada.
Okay.
Definitely Kaytranada. Yeah. And then when I was in Chicago, I got, like, Chicago put me on house music.
Well, that's where it started. Yeah.
So I didn't even know about house music.
Nah, it's bangers.
Until I got to Chicago, and Cashmere he's like the OG. He came out with like Brighter Days.
Okay.
And what's crazy is that song would play at, like, the roller skating rinks in Chicago. And, like, when I tell you, you know you're in Chicago when you play a house song and you have middle-aged black people shaking their butt and vibing. Yeah. Like,
see, I was gonna say something else about that. Actually,
that's not gonna happen here.
Nah, like, I do think, from what I've experienced, I feel like some of the best mixes I hear are at, like, skating rinks. I feel like when I go out to go skating, the DJ is probably gonna play some, because I think they're usually like older DJs, kind of, but it's like you'll hear some more bounce in the music. You know what I mean? Because they'll be like, because like that's when people are skating, they're trying to do certain things, do certain moves.
Yeah.
So I feel like when you go skating, that might be some of the best blending and mixing that I hear. If I go to a part, like let's say I'm trying to go to a function at UC or whatever, in my experience, I haven't really had that variety that you might get when you go skating. Like when you go skating, that's almost, I'm pretty confident it's gonna work out.
And you know why that is?
Why?
Because when you're at a UC party, like you're drinking and you just wanna just have a good time and dance with your friends. And sometimes it's not all about the music. It's about the enjoyment, the experience, the laughter, the conversation, the networking. But with roller skating, it is not separate from music. It is a part of the art form. Let's talk about it.
Okay, so explain that.
Like when you're like roller skaters, like they are picky about what they want to hear. And that is because it is literally a part, like you can't, it's like dancing. Like you don't really watch many dancers in silence. Yeah. And it's the same thing with skating. Like it's a part of like how you can feel and groove. Like there are dance routines that you do on skates. Right. And like if you can't do it to the song that the DJ's playing, like you're going to be mad because you can't like, you know, show out. You can't show off. Yeah. And I had to learn that the hard way. Like, you know, like when I did my first one, it was pretty chill. But when I did my glow event for Blink, I noticed like they were more experienced skaters there, and it was something that was a challenge. And this happens occasionally. It's more of like feeding off the crowd and understanding like, okay, is this a beat that someone can skate to? And it's very particular because like if you're doing there's a lot of things that you do to the beat when skating. So if it's too fast or too slow, then you can't do the combination to it. Wow. It's super. It's like it's wow. It's insane.
You going in depth right here.
I think this is my life.
Right. That's why you're a DJ. Cause I feel like in my experiences, like you were saying, I can understand where if you're at a party, you kind of are just, you're not maybe there to dance, but I'm thinking this was the basis. Was it not? It's like, come on, we can't enjoy the music the same way.
It's also not even like, you know how in 90s parties they would have like whole dance offs? It ain't like that anymore. Okay. I know, but because I've had ideas where I'm like, why isn't it like that? Okay, social media, people have always been nervous. Like, they're always going to be nervous people, but I think now you have an escape. Whereas like at an house party, if you don't have a phone, like you really have to sit with that. But that's a part of growth you need as a human. And then like people kind of have to look around or whatever, but I think you're also going to be more likely to get into it because you would see so many people dancing. I go out, I feel like it's only a group of people dancing. Most people are standing there. They're not actually dancing. So that's why I put so much emphasis on what a DJ is doing, because I think there have been times I'm starting to learn and understand that as a DJ, sometimes each DJ is different. Sometimes you might take requests, sometimes you don't. Some people always take requests, some people never take requests. But I get really confused when I feel like as somebody in the crowd, this is not working, and I actually try to voice that to a DJ, and they're like, because I think I said, hey, like I think you should play this R&B song, right? And they were like, oh yeah, I got you. Never played it. He never played it, and it was and the function stayed the same. When I was thinking, dude, if you would have maybe tried that, if you would have tried it and it didn't work, I would respect that. It's like, at least you kind of heard my concern, you tried it, but you didn't even try it, so you thinking it's working and it doesn't look like it is. Because that's always been baffling to me, because I'm like, don't you care about what the people in the crowd are doing? I know you're getting paid for it, but do you not care for the people to actually say, who was that DJ? Yeah. I think you would want people to come back and kind of bring your name up, because then that will spread like wildfire for you. Yeah. Well, I will say a lot of DJs do not like requests. Okay. It can be taken as an insult. It can be taken as an insult. Okay. But personally, it depends on the event for me. I can eat up requests, like, because it helps, like you said, it helps to like get a feel of what the crowd is like. And I remember I was talking to like my mentor, my friend who got me into DJing, and he was like, sometimes you can even just talk to people and like you know, find out what they're wanting to listen to and get a feel from that. But I've had people just come up to me and like, you know, ask, and if they're polite, you know, because sometimes it can be a little aggressive, like, so, and it makes me not want to play it, but it helps when, you know, when people come up and make song requests sometimes. Because some requests are way off, and I'm like, I'm not gonna play that.
See, like I can get that. Like, let's say you playing like some 90s funk or something like that, and then somebody asks for a trap song. It's like a modern day trap beat, whatever. It's like, pretty sure that's not gonna fit that's in. Not the vibe. But it's not the vibe. If you know how to, like, you know, flip it, then it could work. But also, I think it also comes from if I feel like you're not doing a good job, then I'll ask. If I feel like you're doing a good job, I will trust you, because so far you have been blowing my mind. So I'm gonna just trust your vision and go with that. That's the reason why I asked that DJ. I was like, I wasn't feeling it personally. I wasn't, my friend with me, she wasn't feeling it either. I was like, all right, so let me see what I can do. Nothing happened. But there have been some DJ experiences where I didn't have to say nothing, because I'm curious to what they're going to do next. I want to hear what you have to blend. I want to hear what songs, because from what you do with the music that we hear, I learned something about you. It's like, okay, you listen to this. This probably influences why you did that, like that. Like, it's a form of communication. So really, it's important to me, to me personally. It's like, bro, please do that right, because I had another DJ on the podcast before.
Okay, you really are a critic.
Yeah, like no, it's like I'm into it, and I've had people tell me that they thought I should be a DJ before, because I've had those thoughts myself, because I feel like I'd be that one corny DJ or whatever. I'm gonna be dancing. I'm gonna be back there mixing, but dancing, because I'm trying to make sure that y'all having fun. But how you gonna have fun if I'm not? Like that. Again, we feeding off each other.
You know, honestly, I don't dance that much. I am so locked in. I do feel like
from the clips of you I've seen, you groove. You kind of groove.
You know, but that's because I'm here by myself, and there's not a lot of pressure. I try not to put a lot of pressure on my, but like you said, it's a lot of pressure. Yeah. It's a lot of pressure. But yeah, I am so locked in. Like, I have a serious face. In my very, very beginning videos, I have such a serious face. And people call me out. Like, Kick, he'll call me out on it.
Yeah, yeah.
He'll be like, that's serious face. Like,
but I can understand that, too, because I can find an appreciation for that. Because it's like, you want to make sure that this goes well.
It's an
art. Like, you care about it. So if you're serious, I'm like, oh, they in a zone. They locked in. Let's see what they got. So I'm cool with that. I just know me. I feel like starting out, because you don't want to mess up. You want to make sure you know what you're doing to a T. You'll probably not do it. But once you do, like, I like when I can get to a point where I don't have to think about it. I can just, I bet this will sound nice.
And I don't know if you've ever played like Guitar Hero.
Oh yeah.
You know when you hit that wave.
Okay.
And it's like everything turns blue, and you're like that is an actual feeling. And that's when I start grooving. It's like I'm like hitting a wave, and I'm just like, okay, like I can finally just like
here with you, because
really be there.
That was a great analogy. I definitely feel that. Like, that's what I'm saying. You can put, if you're in that zone, and I'm the one on the receiving end of it, I might catch some of that, and I love that. And
I hope you do.
That's what I'm saying. But I feel like people don't think about that. I feel like people don't think about that, because I've been to one too many events where it just doesn't go well. So I still haven't been. Well, I have been to one of your events, but that was forever ago, and I wanted to try and catch the one last
Friday.
night. Yeah, but I do plan to catch something at some point, because like, once we brought up Kaytranada, I'm like, yeah, if you like Kaytranada, that means you might even play some Kaytranada or just play something around that. And I know you like house music, so I like exploring different kinds of music. And when it's all put together, it's a beautiful experience. It's such a, like, I can like levitate out of my body.
Not you levitated.
It's really, that's how it can get that deep though.
No, really.
It's like, bro, this is out of body.
And honestly, like, when I was back in college, before, you know, I started my DJ journey, and we were in lockdown, quarantine, I was in my room levitating and listening to music.
Oh, yeah.
Like, literally.
Yeah.
I probably drove my roommates nuts. Like, I was just listening to music, and I went from country, I went to house, I went to funk, I went to soul.
Yeah.
And I'm talking like soul, like 60s, like Sam Cooke soul. I would like be levitating to Sam Cooke.
Yeah. And that's why I think, like, if you are well versed in music, that will help in so many different things, because then you might hear something in one song and you can hear how it connects. Because I think when I first, or before I moved to Columbus, I learned that there are different ways that you can mix songs.
Especially samples. I found a lot. Like, I went through a whole, I'm like, wait, like, this song is from, this is a sample from there.
And then you go down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Like, I've learned that you can mix songs based off a word. It'll be like in one song they say all right, so in the next song you'll mix it to another all right, or maybe the BPM you mix it. I think that's probably my favorite, like when it's like the same type tempo. I love that. But I've just learned there's so many different ways, there's so many different techniques and so many different ways to basically manage the vibe, be in charge of the vibe. And I think it's a big responsibility. Like, it's try not to psych yourself out, but it's a very important thing. So you were saying earlier that you said it took you 6 months to learn?
Well, I would say I was forced out of the bedroom DJ phase in 6 months. Okay. And after, the roller skating event, it went really well. You
were like, yeah, I can do this.
I mean, I got requests too, and I'd play them. You know what I mean? Like, it was helping set the vibe. And so I guess that's why I still like it today, is because it helped me as a beginner. And I understand, like, sometimes when you like accept that, it goes well, because the people who request it start going to town, and that energy feeds off to everyone else too. But I will say, sometimes when that isn't, like, when the request is off, like, I've played a song request.
How do you manage that?
I've played a song request and it has killed the vibe. And I'm like, yeah, never again.
So, like, let's say you hear the request and you are sure it's gonna kill the vibe. How would you navigate that?
I would say, I got you.
You would say, I got you? No.
I got you. Sometimes, like, in the beginning, I'd be like, I don't know if that's the vibe. But then people will try to, like, convince you, and I'm I don't know. So I just had to, like, it's a way to just, like,
I hear you, because it's like,
I got you.
It's very
I got you.
Because that's what happened to me. That's why I'm sorry.
I know. And you should have seen my face when you said it, because I was like,
oh my gosh, that is bad. I mean, I get it. It's like, you don't want to have any conflict, especially at that point, because somebody might try and bust up, your stuff. But it's like, bro, I can respect if I try to ask somebody for a request and they say I'm not taking requests. I respect that, because it's like, okay, cool. But if you're not taking requests, you better be killing it. Because if you're not, then I'm gonna look at you crazy. It's like, all right, you're not doing it.
Yeah, or it depends on the type of event too. Because if it's like that DJ's event, then they're trying to express themselves. That is their creative outlet.
Okay. Fine, right? Fine. It's just there are other
you
people.
You are not accepting that.
No. That's fine. There are just other people receiving that, and you have to remember why you're there in the first place. Like, you're not there just to express yourself. You can still do that, but also we are there to have a good time. If you want to just express yourself, not to sound rude, but you could do that in your room. You know what I mean? If you are out and you're supposed to basically help us make sure we have a good time, there's a different purpose on top of it.
Can I ask you a question? Do you like every Drake song?
No.
So if he performed a song that you did not like at a concert, do you think he performed it?
I mean, if he performed a song I didn't like, I'm still there.
Exactly.
Oh, no.
Exactly. It might be someone else's jam.
Okay, like, if it's like one song, okay, that's fine. Okay. I'm just saying, if it's consistently throughout the night, I'm seeing failure. I'm like, bro. Okay. Change it up. Do something different.
Well, I hope nobody's felt that way about my sets.
Nah, I hope not. I mean, I would. I just, I don't know. I just feel like there have been a lot of, like, I kid you not, whether when I was at Kent State, or whether I came, like, to UC, I'm like, I'm in two different areas, but it's the same. But then I went out to California, and it was a little different. I said, do I gotta come out here for it? Like, where do I need to be? Where do I need to go?
What kind of music?
I think when I was out there, it was everything was more so, like that funk type, and it just had like some of it was more upbeat. Some of the BPMs were a little faster, and I think that's why it makes people move a little bit. Whereas some trap music and certain things like that, it might be upbeat, but it's, I don't know how to explain. It's kind of like a lower energy type, and it's not something you might dance to. You'll rap to it, which I get. You need those too.
And that's here, or that's still?
What do you mean? You
said it's lower BPM.
Well, that's what it seemed like when I was out there. It was like everything was upbeat.
High energy,
very upbeat, making people want to dance, want to move. Here, from what I've experienced, it just seemed like you might just rap, and that's fine. Because I learned in college, like there were certain songs I used to not like, or certain artists I wouldn't like. So I'm like, that's not my type. I like conscious rappers and everything, right? But then I'm gonna be honest, do I always want to hear that in the club? No. Like in the club, I would love to hear some Migos. Like let's do it, right? So I'm understanding that there are different things are needed at different times, but it seems like there is a consistency in certain areas, which is interesting to like kind of observe. But sometimes it's like, all right, I'm observing, but can we change it? And I know it's gonna take more than one person, but it seems like it's consistently a certain type of thing. That's all. What are your thoughts on that?
I would say I'm like pretty open format. Okay. So like I said, I've played house, which is pretty high energy, and sometimes I feel like it's too high energy. Okay. For some people and some events here. Yeah. So I can see what you mean by that. But I also do love to like spin some R&B or like some slower jams, some 90s hip hop.
See, that's what. Yeah, like just a little mix up, just being able to throw different things in there. Yeah. That's what I like.
Like certain events do call for just more of a chill kickback,
and that's fine. That's completely fine.
But I see what you mean. Like like for some things, it's just about familiarity.
Okay. And that's where
I am agreeing with you. I'm saying like like the consistency that you're hearing, it's familiar.
Yeah, and that's why I was like, I want to learn how to DJ so I can do something about it, because
you want to be different. You want to,
yeah. So how often do you practice?
It has changed. It has changed so much. Okay. And I feel like I practiced so much in the beginning. Like it was an obsession. Okay. And I loved it. I loved every moment of it. Like it was not a day that went by. I was still in class, like doing online classes, finishing up my last year. Yeah. And we were Zooming. I'd have my controller out.
I'm not even mad at that, because I mean that stuff would be boring. So we might as well do that. Yeah.
Yeah, we get like breaks, or like I'm in between classes, I'm spinning like. Yeah. Like literally, it was so fun. And then I would say my first year, I got a lot of decent work, both with like CMA, with nonprofits, and then so that was the year 2021 was the year Somerset opened, and I got booked for Halloween, and that was my first big event. Oh, it was the hottest bar that came out. It was Halloween, and I was like, yo, this is nuts. And I prepared for that for probably like a month.
So when you say prepared, you were DJing every day for a month.
And I was curating a set list. Like I was curating it. Like I'd move things around. I'm like, this would sound good here. I'm like, now I need to take this off completely. And I had probably like 200 songs on there.
Okay, because I was going to ask, like, when you are preparing for an event, how many, basically, I guess, sets do you have ready? Because I feel like you kind of have, because, like, again, you might go in with one set thinking that that's going to be the one, doesn't work, or maybe that does work, but you have something in another set.
Typically just one. I try to have, like, that skeleton, that body, but I have like, I even have playlists from when I wasn't a DJ that I'd, just, like, so I just have a lot of music that I'm able to dip into if I feel like we need to go somewhere else. And then once I started building up different sets, I save all of my sets. So sometimes events are very similar to another event that I've done. So if the one that I planned for the event isn't working, I'll go to another set that's very similar. So I'm like going through all of these different sets that might fit. And when I find one, I'm like, okay, cool, like this is it. And sometimes it's just like, I don't know, it's like you can only prepare so much.
Yeah, because I guess you don't want to over prepare, then none of it works. You like, okay, well, that 30 hours I just used didn't do anything. But
it's still nice to like curate and try, because there are times when it's like, you know, the beginning of the event where you're just setting the vibe, the environment, the space, the aesthetic, and oftentimes that's when I can just really like freestyle with it, or go as planned. To an extent, because there's some events I got in there and I'm like, this is not at all how I imagined it to be. I'm like, okay, so we trying to turn up right now. Like 9 p.m. Let's go. I'm over here thinking we're slowing into it.
Right. And they're like, nah, we want to be turned.
Yeah, okay. I'm like, okay.
So like, what is the best, what am I trying to say? What's like the best feedback you've ever gotten from someone at one of your events? Or like what's something that someone said to you, you were like, it's stuck?
I don't know why, but it wasn't even at my event. It was when I was like first starting to DJ, and it was at a skating rink actually. And a DJ was like talking to me about how you gotta view, you know, this is like a sermon. Like, you gotta kind of just like, you gotta just kind of share out, and I took it as a way of just like telling a story, and also just feeling. It's less of like in your head for me. It's more of and so I'm sharing from my heart, and like I'm that. Like feeling it. It's like it's an energy thing. It's definitely energetic. Reading, in my opinion. So it's like,
wow.
Yeah, that's how I took it. That's all. Like, I'm like, okay. Yeah. Ever since then, you know, like sometimes I can get in my head because it's still like you gotta lock in. Yeah. But it's like it's music. It's a language. It's communication. Yeah. So it's like, okay, like, what are we saying? And I feel like with certain events, you also have to work with the organizer, because it's not always about, you know, the DJ. It's about like what the organizer is trying to get at too. So when I work with nonprofits, it's like, okay, like in my mind, and when I'm practicing for a set, when I'm curating a set, I'm visualizing what I'm thinking is a good vibe for that. You know what I mean? Like, and let me know if I'm going too deep. Like, let me know if you're still following.
I'm following.
Because I can get deep.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that helps me plan my sets. I'm visualizing like the best vibe, and that's all from like, you know, talking with the organizer, the person who booked me, and then
it's like what kind of experience are you trying to
you know, relate that and communicate that
through the music.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just imagine that it's such a fulfilling experience, especially when an event goes well. It's like we just, like, you kind of feel like you just vibed out with everybody, kind of connected through the music. Because like I said, when somebody is doing their thing, I am like, I appreciate that DJ, because they just kind of took me on a journey. It's like, bro, we were over here, now we over here, we feeling all this. And that's why when it's done right, I love it. And when it's not, it makes me want to go home.
But some sermons don't hit everyone. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Am I calling you?
Nah, you spend some bars. You dropping some knowledge for sure. So that process it sounds really tedious, but it's like, is that a part of the process you really look forward to?
And I mean, like, it is, but that's just the way I go about things. And I would say, like, you know, yeah, I had a mentor, but pretty much you're self-taught. And at least I am. Okay. And I feel like a lot of DJs are, because you got to find, like, your style. You have to find who you are. Okay. And what makes you different. So, like, that's the way I go about it. I don't know. Some people may go about it differently. Yeah. So, I mean, and honestly, like, in other cities, there are bigger cultures that, you know, help people grow in that area. Yeah. I feel like we still have to get there.
I can see that.
So it's like right now, it's like we kind of got to do some stuff by ourselves and then get out there.
Right. So as a DJ, what is it? So for every event, what is it that you set out to accomplish? And as a DJ, just in general, what is it that you set out to accomplish? Let's say just in Cincinnati. Like, what do you want to be like? All right, every time I do this, this is what I want to happen. This is what I'm aiming for.
What do I set out to accomplish?
And it could be like, because you just say you get deep, so it's like, what, like, just where's your headspace? What's your headspace? Like, you kind of want them to have a better understanding of who you are. You want them to have the best time ever.
Not even. I would say that was a tough question, but I would say, like, going into my toughest sets or like my biggest ones, I take time to pray before. And typically what I pray about is making sure everyone, is having a good time, has a good experience, and, forget about worries, pain, like, are able to come in the space and genuinely just, like, radiate positivity. Like, I try to bring positivity. And that's why, I'm not gonna lie, it's hard for me to play a lot of trap and rap. Okay. It's really hard. Some of it, like, it can say negative stuff, but it can make you feel good.
Is that something, like, do you not listen to it?
Some stuff.
Okay, yeah.
Some stuff. Like, I listen to Meg.
Yeah. I'm just curious. I'm like, is it like something that you listen to but you don't like to play, or is it something that you don't listen to and that's why you don't play it? That's why I was asking.
Yeah. It's probably my least listened to.
Okay.
I wouldn't say least.
It's just not your favorite.
It's not my favorite. It's not my favorite. And I do want to separate that from hip hop. Like, I listen to a lot of hip hop. It's just like, mostly like trap.
I get what you're saying.
But I mean, I can still get down too.
Of course, yeah. As a DJ, you have to. Yeah. Like, that's one thing I think is cool, because I do think as a DJ, it's kind of your responsibility to be up on a lot, because you want to be able to mix. If you can't mix that into something, then that can hurt you, because it's like, oh, if you could do that, people are even more impressed, and they're saying, oh, I will consider you for an event I'm thinking in the future or something. Just knowing that you have the repertoire of sounds. Yeah, so it's a and it's another thing. It's another way to learn about you. It's like, all right, I don't listen to this that much, but of course I know what this country singer does and what they sing, and I know that song. It's like, oh, you are really about it as far as being well versed. Not saying if you're not like that, you're not. I just think it adds another layer. Yeah. So what was I gonna say? You said 6 months though. Yeah. Because
I mean, some people have done it in less.
Yeah. Okay. Were you first intimidated by by your controller, like, at all? When you just looked at it, you were like,
hell yeah. Hell yeah. I was like, especially the first time I went and I was out in public. Yeah. And I mean, of course, like, he didn't just like drop me with a controller and walk away. He was teaching me. I was just looking at him like, what are you saying right now? Like, how did you do that? Like, what are you doing right now? But eventually, like, you practice so much, it becomes like
second nature.
Yeah. And so, like, there were times where I had to look stuff up, I had to ask someone about it. Yeah. And I remember the first time, I mean, I did say earlier that we don't really have that big of a culture and community yet for, growth, and especially bringing in newer people. But I was lucky to find some people who are about, music and community and growing. Yeah. And I did find a DJ who put me on to something, like a tool. And this is probably, this was last year. And it changed I literally saw him do it, and I was like, mind blown. And it's like a tool that, like, not many people know about. So you can always learn and get your mind blown by like DJing, by your controller. Like, I mean, there's so much stuff that I still want to learn, like how to go from a slow beat PM smoothly to a higher and back. Yeah. Oh, wow. People do it, and it blows my mind every time. I'm like, I need to learn how to do that.
Yeah, that's tough.
It's crazy. It blows my mind.
So, also, as you continue to DJ, and I'm guessing upgrade your do you like over time, have you been kind of upgrading your stuff?
Yeah. So
has that been overwhelming?
I would say it has, because when I tried to get my first controller, like I was rocking that baby controller, that beginner controller, and that's what I was using for probably a year. I was getting gigs with it.
Yeah.
So $150, and you can get gigs with that controller.
I have one, so yeah.
So, you know, you can go out and get some work with that.
Okay.
And so I saved up money to, like, you know, get a controller, and I was so excited, you know. Put the order in, and it was on back order for like so long.
Oh, dang.
So long. And I ended up just like saying, yeah, no, I'm gonna have to just get it somewhere else. So I went and got it used off like Craigslist or something.
Did it work well? Work fine?
Yeah, it worked well. And then someone spilled water on it.
Oh.
And I had to get another one.
Ooh.
So
dang.
Coming from a DJ, please be careful with your drinks.
Yeah, man. Like, I'll definitely be worried of that.
Especially if you're gonna make songs.
Right. So, it seems like as you upgrade your stuff, it seems like everything just gets bigger.
Yeah, it does. And I like how some people, they keep their older stuff, because if it's like a smaller event or like a more mobile event, they can have like, you know, their smaller gear. But if it's a bigger event, you know, like I see a lot of like EDM DJs, they're like, they have CDJs and they're just adding more decks, and it just starts to get like
because I'm like, dude, this thing is huge. Like it's intimidating and everything, because the one I have, you know, is very portable, very mobile. You can just get up and go. Some are like in a desk, in a table or something. Like, you have to take time to take everything apart or put everything in. I'm like, bro, that is so much. It's so much. But yeah, I was just curious, because I feel like everything just gets bigger. So I'm wondering if that just overwhelms you, because you kind of have to learn something else again. But then it's like, all right, you have like more space you got to be aware of, and everything like that. So, but you said somebody spilled a drink. So, like, what's the worst story that you have? As far as like, is that it? As far as somebody like spilling a drink?
Honestly, that other than that was a great event. Like, we were vibing.
Good, that's good.
It was outdoors, sun was out, there were tacos.
Yeah.
And you know, most recently, I would say I was at a bar/club, and it was 9 p.m. And you know, 9 p.m. it's not like peak.
Yeah.
It's not peak.
Like a little after that, yeah.
But these people get off of a party bus, and they're turned.
Oh, they were lit. Oh, yeah, they were lit.
And when I tell you, I've never been like thumbs down in my entire life. And they were like so rude to the extent where they were just like, and I was like, do you know where you are? Like, like we are at like, this is a house night. Like, we are at our spinning house.
Oh, they were mad at that. Yeah,
like they wanted to hear like ABBA or like familiar music, and I would play like house with that in the background, and then they'll stop vibing again, and then I'll like mix back in, you know, some house beats, and then just like, and so, and it was interesting because you'll also see, like, there were people, like going hard the entire time, like they were they love my music, or they were just having a good time, and it's hard when there's like that disparity. Like you have people who are absolutely hating, and you have people who are absolutely loving it. Right. Yeah. So I would say those are my most challenging moments, and that right there was my most challenging. Don't know where to, like, who to appeal to necessarily, maybe, or I wouldn't say necessarily who to appeal to. Like, you can't please everybody. Right. But like I can see how that may be confusing, though. Yeah. It's like, dang, everybody seems to love it, but then it seems like a lot of people are not. That group specifically. Yeah. I mean, also, you just gotta know, like, some people are lit and not happy. Right. But, you know, like, just gotta work through it. Like, as a DJ, you just, like, work through it. Like, I just worked through it, pushed through, and, like, it was, like, positive, like, energy came back. You know what I mean? Like, okay. And that's literally like my goal. Like, when I saw that, I was like, this is pretty negative. Like, there's some negative energy. But like, in my mind, I was like, okay, like, I'm not gonna respond to that. I'm gonna find a way to bring like the positive vibes. I was feeding off the people who were vibing. Yeah. You know, if you're thumbing, like, why would I want to like make you happy? Like, I'm not saying like I'm gonna intentionally like be rude or anything.
Yeah.
But also like it's just not something that I want to feed into.
Oh, yeah.
Like I'm trying to set a good space.
So don't like respond. Just kind of continue with the good energy that you get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Like, why would you try to like lower the vibration of the room?
Right.
I don't know.
I hear you there.
Like,
I hear you there.
It's different if like someone naturally just isn't into the vibe. Like there are people, you know, like you want to get someone dancing.
Yeah.
You know.
Like you can not be into it, but and not be rude. I get what you're saying.
Like maybe this place just isn't for you. Like so
right.
maybe
you chose to be here. Like yeah, exactly. All right, so I have one last question for you, and my question is: since you started DJing, what have you learned about yourself as a person and as a creative?
I feel like that is the same thing for me.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Like I'm just a creative person. Like I went to performing arts, you know, since 4th grade, and my mom actually like I didn't even know it was a thing, but my mom just knew. She was like, you should totally audition, and that was the beginning of everything. Like I just always was a creative person, and yeah, I would say it really helped me just kind of grow into myself like entirely.
Okay.
Like I don't have to put on a facade.
Yeah.
And like especially like, you know, if I worked like, you know, working for someone like in a company or something, you know, you have to like sometimes put on your like, you know, your voice, and you know, you like you have to act a certain way. But I feel like the environment that I work in, I can show up as myself and be myself, and that has helped me like do that 24/7, and it helped me sink more into my own energy. You know, like helped me, you know, really, I wouldn't even say explore that more, but just settle into it. You know, really just like be more happy with who I am. Like my style, like I was very like, I loved to style and like, you know, try different, you know, I was into the work aesthetic. Like I had like all these cool button ups and like all these cool like pants. Yeah. But now it's like it's kind of minimal, but it's also still like I can mix and match and puzzle it together, and it's still me. Like I don't have to like put on a front or like, you know, kind of like play dress up. It's more of like I'm just showing up. I'm showing up as me. Like.
Okay.
So.
That is beautiful. Yeah. All right. Well, Monet, I want to say thank you for being a guest on the Highlight Reel. I was really excited to have you. I was like, all right, she DJs. Like I love talking to DJs because as you could see, like I pay attention. Like I'm not a DJ, but I pay probably more attention than some people do. So I definitely want to talk to you about that, and also learn more about you as a person and as a DJ, because that's always interesting to know about.
Word.
But yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for being a guest on the Highlight Reel.
Thank you for having me.
This has been a pleasure. No problem. And to the viewer and to the listener, I want to say thank you for tuning into this episode of the Highlight Reel. That has been your episode. I hope that you have a good one. Peace out.
Hey.